Let's go for a tour of Boise, Idaho. Whether you're considering on relocating out here or if you're new to the area and just want to get a better lay of the land, this is going to be a guided Google Maps tour where I can kind of share some of the insights I have to some of these cities and what makes each of them so unique. And if this is the first time we've met, my name is Holden Ralston. I'm a local real estate agent out here in Boise, Idaho, and it's definitely my job to help you if you are interested in relocating, as that's something that we did back in 2019. But let's get into it. First, we'll start with the Treasure Valley and then we'll work our way into all the individual cities that kind of make it so unique. But on the screen here, you can kind of tell that the way that this is situated, we do have a lot of foothills and mountain ranges that kind of enclose the city. So we do sit in a little bit of a bowl. But going from there, you can tell we've got Boise, Meridian, Star, Eagle, Nampa, and Middleton, which are some of the bigger cities that you might have heard about. But what's so cool about this is that just the way that it sits, naturally, everything kind of fits really well together because you have these natural divisions and kind of perimeters that are set up that create that just natural valley that we sit in. So starting in Boise, the first thing to clear up is that it's not actually pronounced Boise. It's going to be pronounced Boise, kind of like it sounds like there's a C instead of a Z at the end. But what we really love about Boise is that the river runs all the way through it. And so, if you're downtown, let me zoom in here for us. But just being downtown and being able to see the Capitol down here, just all the parks and everything is really built around the river going all the way through. So you have a lot of dining opportunities, just a lot of outdoor activities, like the parks and the zoo. They're all centrally located around that. But if I was to split up Boise into kind of a few different areas to tell you about, the easiest way to be looking at it as Southeast Boise, which we've got down obviously in the southeast. You've got the Boise Bench. The Boise Bench right here is just a little bit south of what might be considered Boise proper, and going into the downtown area. But it sits up a little bit higher on a bench, and so especially kind of next to the airport, a lot of these homes up on Sunrise Rim, we sold one of these last year, and they've got just amazing views of the foothills. So if I click on the terrain for us here, you'll be able to see the bench. It's a little more eclectic for sure, but where our foothills sit, you can get some really great views of the foothills. So I would divide it into Southeast Boise, the Boise Bench, West Boise, which we'll get into this in a little bit later, but just west of Boise is going to be Meridian. And the West Boise Bench kind of has this slow fade, a gradual fade where, right here it definitely feels like you're in Boise, a little more of that downtown eclectic feel, the shops, and then it just slowly fades out into being kind of your more traditional suburban neighborhoods. And then the north end of Boise is kind of what everybody loves when they think of Boise, and that's going to be kind of this upper end over here in Hyde Park. And this is just the coveted area that really holds its value, that's got those mature trees to it, that's just got amazing homes and definitely that quintessential, almost Gilmore Girls-esque feel as you drive through it. That's really what people think of. And these ones, they are a little bit tighter in there, that's for sure. But you have a higher density in here. That's what people really love about Boise is that while you have the high density of the city, it doesn't feel like an overwhelming or too large of a city, maybe like where we're from, we're in Los Angeles. Because Boise, we've got a general, almost total population, just Boise, of about 450,000 people. And so that is still a very, very small city. Some things to do in Boise, if you guys were visiting and wanted to come over here, definitely, if you're out here in summer, don't do it during winter, but going down to Barber Park. This is in Southeast Boise right here. Barber Park is the start to the river float. There's a trail system that you can walk along the greenbelt there, but that is a phenomenal spot if you want to come out here and just visit and see what it's like. That's going to give you an amazing experience as you kind of float down the whole river. There's lots of awesome places to eat in Boise. We really like Fork. We like Barbacoa. There is so many just great other places. What's that other one I'm totally blanking on right now? I can't remember. We'll come back to it. But we love going down to Julius Davis Park. There's just so much walking and greenbelt and trail access. I mean, so we're running the Boise Half Marathon, and that's going to run almost the entire length of the greenbelt. And I'll kick you all the way over to Eagle and all these other amazing places. So that's probably my favorite thing about Boise is just the accessibility to everything. It's just tremendous. To give you an idea kind of on home values over here, there is a absolute gambit of a spread. Boise Bench is probably going to be your lowest price point if you wanted to get into Boise proper, buying a home. It's definitely more of an eclectic area where you've got some older communities where maybe some of the properties are a little bit more run down, and you can get in at a really great price point, or especially if there has been a fix and flip. So you can get into the Boise Bench. We were looking a few months ago, we got a buyer into that area at about $400,000, but definitely not uncommon that for some of the bigger, nicer homes with views, you can kick up to $1 million over there. Southeast Boise is an up and coming area where there's a lot more new development going in there. Barber Park, that whole area over there is all new development. We'll zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see all this is kind of more condos, zero lot line homes that are, a few apartments in there, but they're all new. They're all really, really nice. And you even have some multi-million-dollar homes up here that we've sold in the past. So Southeast Boise, you've got some older homes and neighborhoods in the 5s, 6s, 8s that are just in a really, really great spot in regards to accessibility, because these ones you can be, 7-10 minutes to downtown, but you're still, a little bit outside of the city, upwards to, $2-3 million homes with panoramic views of the foothills. We do have a lot of employees from Micron or even physicians from St. Luke's, because the big St. Luke's is downtown, that will actually live in Southeast Boise and then just commute over. The north end, that's going to be a really, really hot price point. Once again, $500,000, $600,000 and onwards and up. But those ones on Harrison Boulevard, what a gorgeous street, tree-lined street, big front porches, just a really, really great community, that draws into one another there. And so there's going to come, a price point with the limited availability. But you do see the north end kind of fade up a little bit more into, 36th Street, things like that. And that all eventually kind of fades into Garden City up here. The West Bench of Boise, that's where you can get, you're just a little bit below 300,000. There's not really a ton of them that come on the market. But that's going to be an area that's doesn't have as much of the charm as downtown Boise, but you still get that Boise address. And it's still a great place to live. All right, over to Meridian. So to show you Meridian, I do want to show you this. So I'm going to show you a time lapse, and this is going to show you Boise over here. This is 1989, okay? So you've got Boise, and you can see in a little bit of a blur because it's an old image, the growth that was here. So going off of that previous map, we got the Boise Bench. We have a little bit of growth into West Boise, but this is Meridian right here. We've got nothing. This is majority farmlands, right? Even up into Eagle. And I mean, that was Eagle back then. There was nothing out in the Star, let alone Middleton. Nampa had a little bit, but didn't ever even get down to the lake. And then there's a little bit kind of going out towards what would be considered South Meridian. So I want you to see just how crazy the growth has been. We kick out to 1998, 99. Meridian starting to really develop a little bit. 2005, it's kicking out a little bit more, and we're starting to see that bridge connect from Boise to Meridian. And then by the end of 2015, what a difference. We've got so much development in South Meridian. All of this is populated. Look how much Eagle has grown, even along the river. Nampa has doubled in size. And then all the way up to where we are today, I guess 2022 is the last one. You can see this entire area, and all the growth really is moving from the east in Boise and moving outwards, kind of over a lot of that older farmland. And that's what's so cool about this area is you do have those natural boundaries of the foothills that push a lot of the growth into certain areas. And it's cool then because we can kind of play off of that and know, okay, property values are probably going to keep increasing in this area just because the growth is moving that way. But that's the timeline of, kind of the valley. So now looking at Meridian, what I really like about Meridian is there's pretty much two ways to dissect Meridian. You've got the 84, which is our main highway that kind of runs right through the middle of the valley. That's going to be your biggest, quickest thoroughfare. You've got the connector, what we call it down here, the connector. And that will shoot you off down towards the airport, southeast Boise, and eventually out of the state. But 84 is a great way to get around. Highway 55 will kick you all the way up to Eagle, and especially if you want to go up north, like McCall, Donnelly, if you want to go for some of those more, 2-hour, 3-hour getaways, you're going to take the 55 up. But what's so cool about using the 84, we can really easily dissect Meridian into what I call North Meridian, which is going to be kind of just anything above the 84, and that kind of fades out west into what's eventually Nampa. Nampa's here, but then it also goes up a little bit. And then South Meridian. South Meridian, there's definitely a lot more farmland, a little bit more development happening out there, especially with new construction, and that eventually fades out to Kuna down there. So Meridian, I think Meridian to some degree is, if we're gonna have a favorite, I know everybody wants Boise to be the favorite. I love Meridian. Meridian is where we moved, where we've built a few homes and bought some properties now. But it is the quintessential small town, family focused environment. From parks and public access and the libraries and just so many different amenities, to the people and the type of people who do settle here. We see lots of families coming in. We have a high density of new construction that's being built out here. And there's so much of this. Let me just even see if this will work. Let's click here. Let's pull up this old street view. This used to be a cornfield, actually. So this was a community that I had built and sold. This was the old farmer's house, and all of this was just cornfield out here. Let's go back in town. There we go, 2011. And that's just where it stops. This is what's so cool about Meridian. And I'm going to get a little bit too passionate here, maybe, is you have these brand new communities at great price points scattered kind of all throughout, that to some degree, a lot of them just bump up to farmland. This is the Oaks community out here. It's about 600 homes, gorgeous master plan community. But as you can tell, it used to just be a lot of farmland out here. And so what's cool about Meridian is the price point that it allows for. It's essentially kind of like a cut and grade, where this will be an old farm out here. This one right here actually is the new Coal Valley Christian. They just bought this entire 40-acre parcel of land. They're going to develop a K through high school right there. But it was always flat. And so they can just come in, cut down the crops, grade it, and start building on it. So because the land out here doesn't have to have a lot of development behind it, it does kind of afford for more affordable entry point for like a purchasing power, right? But so you can definitely get $1.5 million home over here in Meridian in some of these neighborhoods where you've got nicer acreage, nicer homes. Bainbridge is one that kind of comes to mind. Bridge Tower. These ones over here are gorgeous, bigger homes. There's definitely some neighborhoods over here like Bainbridge, Bridge Tower. You've got some bigger homes that are on 1/4 of an acre. You can go a little bit north of, I guess I'll back out and explain this one. So the 84 goes all the way through. That's our highway. Highway 26, which is Chinden. This goes to connect, Eagle, Star, all the way down there. And what's cool about that is that, if you're from California like me, the 84 is essentially your 405. And then Chinden right here is kind of like PCH, where if you want a drive that there's a few stop signs, but it's a nice drive, or a few stoplights, but it's a nice drive, that's kind of what Chinden is for us. And so in Meridian, just north of Meridian, you can get some really nice neighborhoods like Spurwing Ranch. This is a golf course community. And as I zoom in here, hopefully you can really tell that you've got some absolutely massive, gorgeous homes. This one right here was our parade home last year. That was a gorgeous one. But they're just absolutely wonderful over there. So Meridian is going to definitely be, if you're a family looking to get out here, you've got lots of access to parks, walking trails, and even connectivity up to like the Star River Walk. We live in West Meridian, kind of on this side of it over here. And we love that we are just, and they're actually connecting Highway 16 right here. So Highway 16 is going to go all the way down. And so if you live over in this West Meridian side of things, that's going to be a great way for you to connect to the 84, hop right to downtown. But generally in Meridian, we're about 22 minutes to downtown. My wife is a nurse. She works at St. Luke's downtown, and it's always a very easy commute for her to get down there. Looking at South Meridian, you can tell instantly there's so much more farmland out here, and almost it's just not as connected yet. There's a tremendous amount of new communities and new developments going out here, which is just so cool to see. This is Sky Mesa right here. This is a community that's been around for 10 years now that we sold a few homes out for sure. And this one's one of those ones where they're at a minimum of $700,000 for an entry point for about a 2,800 square foot home. But really nice thought out communities. And then these ones up here, these ones are gorgeous on Pioneer Trail. These ones, they've got these, it's hard to see right now, but these actually sit up on a, let's see if this will show it. No, I won't show it. That's fine. These ones sit up on a rim lot, actually. And so these have great views of the foothills. And so when you zoom out, though, you're like, wait, that little spot right there can see all this, and it's gorgeous. I mean, truly breathtaking. So just knowing about these areas is really important if you want to come out here. But this is a great spot. You've got Discovery Park, which is one of the largest parks in Meridian, and they're developing so much more out there. You've got the golf course. So South Meridian isn't as connected and fluid as, you know, the upper half of Meridian will feel like, but it's still a great spot. And especially if you want to bank on some of the growth, you can buy into an area that's not as developed, get a better price point. And if you're going to be there for 5 or 7 years, just imagine how much more is going to come down to this side of Meridian. But you will kind of forfeit at the get-go just a little more of what's already there in regards to amenities and things like that. So that's kind of Meridian, really centrally located, obviously Meridian. But we love Meridian because we are, you know, a growing family, and there's lots of communities that are master planned around that are just really, really thoughtful for us. All right, let's talk about Eagle. So as we originally saw, Eagle was a blip on the radar back in 1989. It has now become probably arguably even hotter of a location than Boise if you're looking to relocate, if you're wanting to buy property and really accumulate a nice property, right? So what's nice about Eagle is that it's been essentially divided into about 3 areas. You can look at Eagle along the water, you can look at Eagle downtown, and then you can really see what is going to be Eagle old farmland. And this is probably where you get that quintessential 2 to 5 acres, you know, a little farmhouse in your own slice of Idaho. So Eagle along the water, you guessed it, is expensive. Eagle Island State Park is a great spot. This is one of the first areas that we actually went to when we visited here. Imagine whatever your state beach is, but it's a state park. And during winter, they actually do this insane. They pretty much bring, you know, we've got Bogus Basin. It's only about 45 minutes from here, but they bring the mountaintop and all the snowboarding, sledding down right into the valley. And so, especially if you've got young kids and you're interested in teaching them how to snowboard, but you don't want to go do a 2-hour drive for them to, you know, not enjoy it, this is a great option. But Eagle Island State Park is a great little spot for the family to get away. We go walking there all the time, frisbee golf, but a little bit of fishing over there for sure. So Eagle along the water is very expensive, just to cut to, you know, straight to the point. Bainbury Golf Course and all these communities in here, you know, we've got some gated communities. We sold one over here in Mace River that, you know, this one, yeah, where it backs up to a farm, which is actually protected because of an accessibility. We'll get into that later, I guess, but just absolutely gorgeous homes on waterfront property. That one, you know, you're looking at $2 million in here, $1 million up to $1.5 million even. We sold one, where was this one? On Colchester. There it is. This one was a little bit over $1 million, but Eagle is where you want to be because the downtown, the scene here is so developed. They have great eating, and this is where you get that instant accessibility where you can, I mean, we like to drive up 55, drive up Eagle, you park right here, and then you can park right there. You can go walk the greenbelt and just enjoy the life-giving, you know, nature of walking along the river, seeing the ducks, and just talking as a family. So the river is where you want to be. There's a few more smaller up-and-coming developments along the river, but when they do start up, it's really small. They'll do about 4 to 6 homes, things like that. You can see these ones over here. This one was gorgeous. Oh my goodness. This was like, they did a lap pool here. It was such a cool home. I'll see if we have a picture of it to share. That was really, really cool. But so for Eagle, highly desirable. And one of the other reasons why it's so desirable is you are 10 minutes right into Boise. Like, it is not that far away, but you get to have some bigger properties, some nicer properties, but you don't really forfeit a lot of the accessibility because there's so many great spots to eat. Like, where is Coins? Coins is awesome. We love Coins. Bardonnay even. We showed, where was that house? Lakemore, I think? No, it wasn't Lakemore. We had a house that we showed, Crown Point. It was this one. So this was $1.5 million home that we had showed. And what's so cool about this one is if you wanted to, you can actually connect right into the river right here, and you can walk all the way to Bardonnay or Coins and have amazing dining, eating experience, and it's under a mile. So that's what's so cool about Eagle is it's really thoughtfully developed. I will say 55 can get a little bit of traffic, but if you're like, the Californian that I am, it's not that bad coming from what we're so used to. And then the third area to kind of look at Eagle from, we've got the river area, we've got downtown, which are going to be smaller home sites, a little bit older ones for sure. You do have some new developments. Sterling Heights is really nice. These ones back up to the golf course right here. CBH has a little community down here. But some more traditional small suburban homes. This, though, is what everybody thinks of when they think of Eagle, Idaho, is these, let's see if I can find two rivers right now. Triple Ridges. I might not be able to find it that easy. But if you zoom in on these, you can really see that, especially off Beacon Light. I love Beacon Light. You pull into one of these communities and you're sitting on a 5-acre property where you've got the main home, a pool in the backyard, you've got that shop of your dreams, and especially they are private, where there is not really a lot of people out here. The neighbors look out for each other, but you've seen some of these very, very mature properties that have great trees that are established, and that's just what everybody wants out here, which is a great thing, right? So these ones are great, and especially when you get out into kind of the top sections of Eagles, when you get some more of these flower farms like Blue Sky Farms. We love Blue Sky Farms and visiting their flower picking, or the berry picks. All that's going to be kind of located out here in Eagle. Let's see. We sold this one on Cottontail. This one was tremendous. This is a 5-acre parcel right here. They have the shop. This whole section was fenced off, and so this entire area is a pasture for their cows. But this one also has just tremendous views of the foothills, and so that's what people love. But this area, you're definitely in the millions to multi-millions, depending on the property, or you can get some that are just a little bit over $1 million. That might be a little bit older, and you can fix up. And then one of my favorite communities is actually Dry Creek Ranch. So we'll zoom out a little bit and give you another sense of where we're at. If Boise's down here, you can take Chinden, or actually you can take State Street, which is 44 from Boise. It's just a straight shot all the way up to 44, and you go up Highway 55 just a little bit to Dry Creek Ranch. Now, this does not do it justice. Dry Creek Ranch, they're developing this. They've got 1,800 acres of land out here, and they're going to build, I believe, on about 1,400. But this is where you really get that new construction, but it feels like you're living that quintessential Idaho life. They have a sweet little creek that runs along the community here. They have, these all in here are about a little bit under 1/4 of an acre for about $800,000. We sold a property out here on one of their estates lots. It's this big one for about $2.5 million. That's, you can kind of see the spacing of just how big the lots are. They've got 1/2-acre lots. They've got full 1/4-acre lots in the foothills. What's cool about Dry Creek Ranch is it does tie into the Rivers and Ridges trail system for hiking and kind of bike riding through the foothills. It has great location to get into downtown, but you really do feel like you're out and away from the city without being too far out and away from the city. Like there's another community out here, Avamore. You can see it's just a little bit further, but this little bit further does go up a little bit in elevation. It does feel very, very disconnected. Now, I love Avamore. They're doing an amazing job. I think they've got even more land than Dry Creek, but they're building such an amazing community out there. Grocery store, gas station, really everything super inclusive. And this one, though, this one feels like you're kind of in the middle of nowhere and you want to be there and you love it. We've got friends out there. But here's something to consider. The further you go out, and especially the further you go out into this topography and this higher elevation, the more weather you're going to get. So we've got friends out in Avamore, and where we live over in Meridian, where it's somewhat docile. Whenever it snows, if it lightly snows here, we know it dumped in Avamore, or dumped in the foothills. So that's just something to consider. But that's Eagle. We really love Eagle. It's a great area if you want to settle, if you've got a little bit higher of a price point to come into. Let's see. Being able to be right along the river is a great thing. Yeah, turkeys. We see a lot of turkeys. That one that we sold over in Mace River, we had turkeys in the backyard when we sold that one, actually. But gorgeous landscape, very, very mature trees. Just one of the really nice things about Eagle is the maturity out there. But it's a great spot if you're looking to get out of, if you wanted to plant roots out here. It's definitely a little bit of a higher price point, but it's an area that really holds its value. So we've hit Boise, we've hit Meridian, we've hit Eagle. I'll touch briefly on Garden City. Not that there's not a lot to Garden City, but it's very easily kind of lumped into Boise. If you want to be in Boise, or if you want all the amenities of Boise, but don't want to spend the money on that, Garden City can be a really great area. When we first landed, we rented out here, and I adore Garden City. I think it's a little bit under the radar in some areas. We live just over here, where we were right on, oh my goodness, one of these communities off Pintail. Oh my goodness, if I had, some spare dollars, this is exactly where I put it, where you've got these old homes, you've got direct access to the greenbelt right here, but you're off of any of the major streets. So it's really private, really quiet. You've got the library, the mailbox right there, the post office, the expo for Idaho, where we do the state fair, things like that. What's cool about Garden City is it does, it's a little bit maybe underdeveloped. You definitely have a little bit more of, when you're driving through Garden City, there's a lot of auto retailers, Happy Camper RV sales, Hot Wheels and Deals trailers, Equipment Share, Benchmark Automotive. So it's not the most, picturesque drive going through Garden City. What's cool is because it's not necessarily zoned not that's not zoned very well, but just because of the way it is zoned, it does allow for a lot of maybe more new businesses to come in. So one of our absolute favorite spots is Push and Pour, which from the Google Maps view, it does not do it justice at all. But Push and Pour over here in Garden City is a phenomenal little coffee shop. It's kind of set back in some of these older neighborhoods. And then it's got direct access to go right down to the greenbelt. This is like one of my favorite memories, maybe even, of getting coffee with my wife, walking Quinn's Pond, and just talking about life and seeing the foothills right there. It's amazing. But we love Garden City, and especially Quinn's Pond. Esterson Pond. The whole entire park here is just amazing because you've got kind of this beach area to go down with the kids right here. We go fishing here all the time. We're never too good at fishing here. It's not the best spot. But then they have a massive spot right here where we'll go bring the paddle boards and you can walk this whole area. And then this right here is also kind of where if you're a surfer and you wanted to surf in Boise, you can get in and there's kind of like a lineup. And then the way that they set up the dam right here, you can actually surf right there. So that's a fun little spot. The sandbar, patio and grill, that is right along the river. Let's pull this one up because you can see just how pretty it is. There's kind of an idea of it, but you can see that you can eat right along the river and really enjoy it. Talia Wine Co., that's right on the river right there, absolutely gorgeous. And then they just did Ling Louie. So this was, they converted, I think it was an old like Joe's Crab Shack that was right on the river. This is a really good spot. We just went here a few weeks ago and just that quintessential enjoying the river atmosphere is really what you can get in Garden City at a totally different price point, which is kind of fun. So that's Garden City in a little bit of a nutshell, where you are close to Boise, but you might not have to pay for Boise, and it's a little bit slower, So let's hit over on Nampa. Nampa is probably going to be your best price point if you want to buy something out here at the most affordable level. I think that if you're looking for that, Nampa is going to be a great spot. You can still get into something in the 300s. A new construction home through like CBH is a great option. I know Lennar is building a lot out here in West Nampa, but to go over Nampa is definitely going to be an older developed city. And so it's going to kind of have that feel as you go through it, where things are more kind of set in their ways, but it's going to be an amazing spot with a great kind of history to it. So some of the older set neighborhoods there is definitely going to be a component of it. And what will sometimes come along with that is older neighborhoods might also not really have great HOAs to kind of protect property values. Not to say that property values aren't protected. I mean, you can have that we see that in Boise on the Boise bench, where you have some of these more eclectic neighborhoods where some of the homes are a little more run down and some of the homes have been fixed and kept up really nice. So that's not necessarily a quality, but you have some of these areas that are older and they're just a little bit looser on the HOAs, but you've got some great communities out here. Coleman Homes was an old builder that built out here, which is now Toll Brothers. If you're looking, they've done a great job in their Carriage Hill community, and you've got great access to Lake Lowell. There's not really a lot of amenities on Lake Lowell compared to going down to Lucky Peak, the state park down here, where you can go down to Lucky Peak. Really cute, really quaint, where you can, rent and enjoy a day on the beach down here, right by the dam, which you can see keep your forest green. We love seeing that over in Lucky Peak. That's a really pretty drive right there too, running right along the river. The Lake Lowell is more of a boating lake, is kind of what I would call it. Boating, fishing, but you don't really have much more than a little park along the lake down here that's been developed that you can kind of go. But once again, great fishing. We've snuck down here, or we've gone down here off the side of the road and fished before, and we've really enjoyed it. But Nampa is definitely an older city. It's been around a little bit longer, and it's been set in its ways. So you're not going to see as much new growth in downtown Nampa. And it's got a population of 100,000 people. So it is growing, but just not a lot that's been going on there. We are seeing a little bit of it push up towards, above the 84. One thing I will say before I forget, and this is why we do these before you move out here, there is a sugar beet factory in Nampa that, to put it briefly, you can smell the sugar beet production quite evidently. And we can actually even smell it sometimes up in Meridian if the wind blows the right way. If you live in Nampa, you can't smell it at all. It's just one of those things that eventually goes away. You don't notice it at all. So it doesn't really affect if you live in Nampa. But if you go down and visit Nampa, you can tell that it's kind of an odor that comes along with Nampa is the sugar beet factory. We've also got the Warhawk Air Museum, which is just an amazing spot during winter to get some wiggles out with the kids to go down there. But we're seeing that there's a lot of building going up from Nampa just north of the 84 right here. And here's an interesting way to look at it. We have Canada. Where's Canada? There we go. Canada right here. This right here, this little line, this street that goes down, it's called Canada. I developed this whole community off of Canada, which was Fairview. Super cute little community out there. But Canyon County is everything kind of to the left of here, and then Ada County is everything to the right of here. So that's the kind of border of it right there. So we can see that there's actually a little bit of growth from Nampa, hopping over the 84 and going up. And so I think that if I had to put money anywhere, I think that this is such an under-assessed area right now, where, I know Hayden Homes out here has a community that it's almost done, but you can still get into this community for $330,000 and have a great brand new construction home that you've got great access to the freeway to get right downtown. But Nampa is going to be a little bit, further of 30 minutes to Boise. But especially if you don't go downtown a whole lot and you want a great price point, that there's still that great sense of community. Nampa is absolutely awesome for that. Let's talk about Star real quick. Everybody says that Star is the next Eagle just because Eagle is so assessed, undervalued, and it blew up. And now we've got these, amazing multi-million-dollar homes along the river with these pools, all that. Actually, I'll bounce back. I'm just all over the place, I guess. Legacy is another really great community in Eagle. Legacy is one of those ones where gorgeous homes built along these man-made ponds in the back, and just an absolute master plan community. It's next to the golf course, and they've got so many amenities over here. I can't believe I forgot about this one. I used to sell here. But these ones are absolutely gorgeous too. So if you want to be an Eagle at a 1.5 price point, $1,000,001 price point, Legacy is something to consider too. But Star, everybody thinks that Eagle, Star is going to be what Eagle turned into, because it was really, really small, and then it was just primed for development. And we do see a lot of that. Star is a small little city. Not to, what's our population? Population in 2010 was 5,700 people, and it does not feel like it is much bigger than that. But especially with Star, there's lots of new construction going on in here. They just brought in a brand new Albertsons, whereas previously you only had Ridley's Family Market, which nothing bad about Ridley's, but you can kind of see this was one little farmer's market. That was it. You had a few little restaurants. This is kind of their downtown right here. So if you like that very small, very tight-knit community, Star could be a really good fit. Or if you're looking to get in at a good price point, I think that Star is definitely primed for building. Because if we look at, hey, you want to build a home or buy a home along the river, all right, you're going to be spending a very pretty penny for a few homes that are available along the Boise River in Boise. Or you can go up to Eagle, where those homes are already settled at an extremely high price point. And not to say that Star is going to be cheap, but with Star, there's a lot of new developments like Star River Ranch. This one's a great example. Star River Ranch, you're looking at about $1 million and up for sure, but so much of what they're doing out here right now is just brand new construction and brand new luxury construction. Great, great builders. We showed one of these off of Salmon Falls Way, where it ties right into a lot of the man-made lakes that they've done over here, and then the river system. So Star is a great option. You can get into Star for, $400, even $350 actually. CBH is doing a lot of new construction up here. You've got CBH, you've got Hubble Homes, Hayden Homes, Toll Brothers has their Clean Vista community. You've got a lot of opportunity out here. Just look at this. All of this is ready for new construction. So you can get into Star easily for under $400. And then what's going to happen, like we were talking about earlier, Highway 16 right here, it stops at Chinden on 26, but it's going to connect all the way down through to the freeway. And so right now, Star might feel like it's a little bit further out, but as soon as that connects through, it's going to just shave down that commute time. But yeah, you're looking at 30 minutes to downtown to Boise from Star. So we love Star. There's a few bigger, older estates properties, especially off of next to the River Birch Golf Course up here. And then you can even get a little bit of that further disconnected feel out in Star, kind of like how we were talking about Dry Creek Ranch and Eagle. Gives you that sense of, in the Hidden Springs too, of, hey, we're out by ourselves, we feel really private. You can get that in Star for sure, where anything off of Purple Sage up here sits at a higher elevation. So you've got some of these homes up here that just have great views of the valley below in here, whereas they're still, 5 minutes down to Star. But Star is going to definitely keep you kind of isolated to some degree. Before we go somewhere else, hopping off of Star, just because of Highway 16, there's a little spot called Emmett. And if you take Highway 16, this is one of my favorite drives. It sounds kind of weird because the majority of this is just all desert, kind of highland where it's just dry grass. But as you take Highway 16 over to Emmett, eventually you kind of cusp over this. I'll show you the train. You go up to the train just a little bit, and as you cusp over, you hit this gorgeous green valley of Emmett. There is not a lot out in Emmett, truthfully. If you really want to move out and you want to go somewhere where you can feel like it is just you, the family, and that small little town, Emmett is a great spot for it. I think that Emmett is a little bit undervalued because I think as the valley gets built out, people out here are going to say, hey, I moved out to West Meridian because I wanted to be by myself. And now I'm not. Or I moved out to Star because I wanted a little bit of privacy. And everyone's moved out here. I think people are going to choose to move to Emmett because you are 40 minutes to Boise, right there. You have a lot of privacy sitting in that valley out here. And this is especially where you can swoop in and you can pick up a 15 acre, a 10 acre parcel. We had a family that bought, I think that theirs was 20 acres and they subdivided it kind of for their family. And so they've got 5 4-acre parcels for them and their kids to go live on out there. But it is very, very quaint. What a phenomenal community out in Emmett. But it's definitely very, very set apart. And then that kicks out to New Plymouth, where you can definitely go get, just kind of your farmland out there. One of the last ones is Middleton. I really enjoy Middleton. We developed a community out there, but Middleton kind of feels like if you miss that one stoplight in Middleton, you just miss Middleton. So we live in West Meridian, and I would commute out to Middleton to go sell some new construction homes out there. Middleton is pretty much as far, Middleton or Kuna are as far out as I'd recommend going if you really wanted to still stay connected to the city of Boise and or just everything that the Treasure Valley has to offer. Because anything further past that, it's really going to be a little bit of a drive to get to anything. Whereas Kuna and Middleton, you're still somewhat connected to be able to get into downtown. But what was nice about Middleton is you're about 5 minutes to the 84. And then from that, you're a 25-minute drive downtown. So this is pretty far out, but Middleton and Caldwell are both pretty well positioned over there. Middleton, we've definitely seen a stop in a lot of the development over the years. About 10 years ago, the city council wasn't really in favor of a lot of the new communities coming in. So what you can actually see over here, which is kind of cool, off of Cemetery in Willis, this is an old community we had developed about, I guess at this point, 12 years ago. But the builder back then, it was Coleman Homes, owned all this land right here, and they were prevented from building on it due to just some of those reasons. And so now, over the past 3 years, we came in, we developed this one, started it from scratch, where you can get a quarter of an acre to a half of an acre home, for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, and you really live in a very small community where you've got Ridley's, family market, and that's it. I think they brought in like a Subway, they brought in a Jack in the Box, little things like that. But Middleton definitely feels out there. We have a lot of law enforcement we've helped relocate from California, and surprisingly, that's a great area for them, just because and if you don't know, sometimes law enforcement, they don't want to live where they work. And so if you're working downtown, you're working in Meridian, Middleton's a great spot for you to just kind of go out, be by yourself, but definitely not just full of cops. If anything, we kind of always joke that Middleton was so small, there's only 1 or 2 cops. Back when we were out there selling homes, it just has such a great little small family feel to Middleton. But so that's kind of Middleton in a nutshell. You're about 35 minutes out from Boise, and anything past that, you're going to kind of really start to feel disconnected. Caldwell can kind of feel that way as well, where there's not a tremendous amount of amenities out in Caldwell in regards to shopping, dining, or experiences. One of the big ones that we absolutely adore is the Christmas lights at Caldwell, where they do at Indian Creek Plaza. There's just an absolute gorgeous Christmas event where you go and just, the ice skating rink and walking through Indian Creek Plaza and enjoying all the Christmas lights over there. But I think that one of the big reasons that Caldwell doesn't have a lot of that is just because of their proximity. You can go right into Nampa and get all of that right there anyways. And then the last one, not Kuna. I actually had to think about how I used to pronounce it. Kuna. Kuna kind of falls into the same category as Middleton and Caldwell, where you might feel a little bit more disconnected, or at least you're going to feel like there's a drive just to get out there. But we see lots of new master plan communities coming in there. You got the train that runs kind of right through here. We sold this one right here. It was an old CBH community, Corey Barton Homes. But Kuna is a really great price point. You're looking in the 3s to 400,000s, and then on some of these, if you get into some of these nicer communities, it can kick up in price point. But living in Kuna, we do see a lot of families kind of commute on into Meridian or other places like that. But Kuna is an amazing little spot too. So that is an overview of the valley. I hope this is helpful. I hope I didn't go too quickly through some of these areas. If you've got additional questions, you can either leave it as a comment on this video, or you can reach out and just inquire about a little bit more of the schools in these areas, what to do in these areas. But I hope this gives you a good sense of the valley and what it's like here in Boise. I would highly recommend that you schedule a visit, or if you're interested in buying a home out here, we can schedule a visit and do some property tours for you. But definitely visit, because this is just a Google Maps sort of look at everything. You're not going to know if Boise is the right area for you unless you come out here, see it, and really feel what it's like to experience the quality of life and just the slower pace of living. It is absolutely amazing out here. But I hope this is helpful. And if you're looking at relocating, my name is Holden Ralston, and I would love to earn your business.